So I'm Dal. I know Sue from a long time previously through her brother, and recently Sue's been showing her work, the underwater work with the wheelchair, and it's very striking, and it's very unusual, and the ideas are great. There's a huge amount of effort going into it. And when I looked at it, I sort of can't help but sort of suggest ways of sort of making it even more
that kind
interesting.
of makes it quite an unusual meeting in its
For
own
example,
right.
I think the scuba gear is great, but I also think there's a more sort of interesting juxtaposition if you don't actually have the scuba gear and you just have normal clothes underwater, because I think it's really hard to get the mind sort of around that you would do that. The scuba gear makes sense underwater, even though it's with the wheelchair, and the motion's great. You know, with the I don't know what you call it, the sort of aerofoil hydroplanes, yeah, which are great, and there's underwater movement's always good, isn't it? It's sort of like in slow motion. It's really graceful, so you kind of making the whole wheelchair person in it sort of very graceful, sort of flying in slow motion. And you could. I always think it's great with underwater as well, because you've got all the reflections and you've got the slow flickering, and if you can see outside of the water as well, because it's sort of an outside world out the top of the water.
And it's so beautiful.
And it's so simple.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just the straightforward technology in the pool.
That's so often the way, is
Yeah.
that the simplest things are actually the most beautiful and the most surprising, because there were things happening in shot, like the bubbles suddenly appearing and the light suddenly turning around, that you just sort of thought, wow, that is just beautiful, but it's not conscious, it's not being planned, it's just happened, and it's because it's just such a very simple medium in a way.
Yeah.
Once you've got the technology right, as you say. I mean, the technology is anything but the project, the concept is great.
And I think it's different enough to be able to be simple, the visual aesthetic to be simple, because the idea is unusual enough and interesting enough to hold somebody's attention.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And I think it will be. I mean, we've just been talking to the Echo about, are there any surprising projects? And the answer is yes. There are lots of surprising projects. Perhaps none more surprising than this one, which I think is going to really grab people's imagination, and I think there's every chance that it could be the project that people walk away thinking, oh, I really remember that one, and we'll get that kind of attention.